Hi everyone, MC Macaulay here. There is a quote that says, your talent is God's gift to you. What you do with that talent is your gift to God. Keep watching Iwing Marketplace.
Hi everyone, this is another episode of Iwing Marketplace Highlight where we promote African businesses. My name is Ivan Nyengir. I am going to be speaking to one of the best MC in the DMV. He's very bilingual and he can sing some real Makossa music and other musics. I call it real Mutumbu. So we're going to be talking to MC Macaulay. He's a great guy. This conversation will be fun. Stay tuned. So, tell me about yourself.
Alright, hi, my name is MC Macaulay, MC based in the DMV, but I travel. Like you know, these days we global. So I'm also a product of the University of Boya, where I have a BA in English and a BSc in Journalism and Mass Communication.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
How did you get started, with being an MC?
First and foremost, I have a passion for talking. So it was easy for me, and back in the days, University of Boya, we had what we call freshman parties. So I would do one. The goal was to get one at the beginning of every academic year, and you had other departmental presidents who were in attendance. So when you had one, then you had the next one, because this president would appreciate what I did, and then they would want me to go to the next and to the next and to the next. And so that's how I got started. And then I got into town, started doing other ones. Fast forward 2013, I left for Canada and then came to the US. And I had a friend who at the time I just lost a parent. And so she said, hey, I want you to come and do it in our basement. I said, okay, fine, no problem. And there was a couple there. There was a lady actually, they're Tabon Kings. So she saw me there and she was like, hey, young man, I have never seen you, but I like what you do. My wedding is coming up in about 2-3 weeks. I have an MC already, but I just want you to be her backup. So yeah, we got there. For some reason, the original MC didn't arrive on time, and so I had the party started. By the time she came, she just sat in the crowd and watched, and when I said, okay, maybe my time is up, I need to hand the microphone over to her to continue with the party, she said, hey, young man, you're doing a fabulous job, so please just go ahead, take it away. And so from that day, just like in the University of Boya, it's been from one event to another. So name it, from birthdays to funerals to corporate events to weddings, name it, MC Macaulay has done it.
Wow, that's amazing. I love the whole journey, So, but what did you do that Mrs. Atabong insisted that you have to come and be the MC in her wedding, despite the fact that she had a wedding MC already?
Well, I think it's the way it's the manner in which you bond with the crowd, you interact with the crowd. It's the fact that you understand your assignment, okay? When you're doing a funeral, the atmosphere is different. It's solemn. So you bring people in that mood, you talk people through that mood. When you're doing a wedding, the atmosphere is different. When you're doing, like me, when I'm doing a birthday event for maybe a 70-year-old, I go back and let's talk about the memories. When you're doing a wedding, okay, you want to put in some, some ambience and all of that. So each event is different, and I'm sure that she enjoyed the way I did that one, and she thought I would be a good fit to be a backup MC for her wedding.
So what does a professional MC package come with?
In my case, a professional MCing package would come with a lot of entertainment first, because I want to make sure that your guests have the best of entertainment. So, like I said, I'm the MC who sings. So part of what I do as part of my MCing package is to entertain your crowd, especially the Cameroonian crowd. I know I do songs from other parts of the world, but Cameroon is my country of birth, and so I'm most familiar with the anciens slow douala, as we call them. So I do that, and then the other thing is I'm blessed to be bilingual. So I speak English, I speak French, and it gets to a point where I have to throw in other words In other languages, I speak a little bit of Mokwe, I speak a little bit of Kenyan, which is from my mother's side. I speak a little bit of Meta, so it depends on the crowd. If I see that we have a predominantly Meta crowd in the house, or from the Northwest region I should say, then you know there's always one or two people who would understand what you say, and it just makes it fun. And those ones who understand it, you know, they come alive in the party.
It makes a difference. Amazing, amazing. And you said you do some singing, some Makossa music. Can you give us a few seconds, some taste of that voice?
Which one am I gonna do? There's this recent one by Ex Malaya featuring Emil Kange. It's an old one which they brought back. Bahamune kwao nende bolo ukakisemba utumunjana ayobo matimbeana wande bolo batanga asiba mundina wa omusibe.
Man, are you sure you're supposed to be only an MC? I think you should be doing music as well.
Well, some people have suggested that, and that's where it started also. I mean, wow. From very young, I was in the school choir. That is the music part of MC Macaulay.
Right.
I was in the school choir, and then, you know, we would do our thing, go for the 11 February competitions. And then somewhere along the road, that kind of fell off. And then I picked up the passion in journalism. So that took over for a little bit. But MC Macaulay, the singer, came in when I realized, especially here in the US, that in the course of the event, there is always the 5-minute gap where maybe the planner is still trying to get something ready, and I was like, okay, what can I do? All right, DJ, please give me this or that song. And then the first time I did it, that was Hari Dikonge's song, Bulu Bawendi Tenge.
Man, I love that song. Can you give a little snippet of that song?
Bulu Bawendi Tenge, Abanawo, Nukeka Sodute Ai, Marimu Apanise Mundi Mawase, Bulu Bawendi Tenge, Abanawo, Lodongoso Jangamere, Marimu Apanise Mundi Mawase.
Book this. Did you get that? Did you get that, Makossa? So there are so many events that you've done. I mean, I've seen you.
Yes.
About 3 events this year. How many events have you done so far this year?
I lost count. Honestly, I lost count. I would say between 40 and 50, because from baby showers to weddings. Sometimes you're flying in and out of town, and then by the time you feel like you're gonna have a rest for one weekend, something pops up. And there have been months that I do not have a single Friday or Saturday off, because you're on to the next, and then you're on to the next, and then you're on to the next. So honestly, I lost count, but if I were to guess, it would be anywhere between 40 and 50 events. Wow, this summer, I should say.
That's nice. So for people who have not used your service, and for those who have used your service, what do you have to say to them?
Well, I would say I'm one phone call away, and I'm that one person who would always work with them, okay? Because I know that sometimes when we become the stars in town, whether it's a DJ, it's an MC, it's whatever, you have that tendency to want to raise your bar such that, like musicians will say, talk to my manager. All right. Yes. So if you have my contact on any social media platform, if you have my cell phone number, for those who've tried, they know I'm one phone call away, and the way I talk is the way I live. All right, there is no stardom anywhere. MC Macaulay is when I'm on stage, but when I'm off stage, my name is Bless Zoshe, and I'm just a people's person.
Why is it good for me to have a professional MC?
Hiring a professional MC is important because, first and foremost, he's a professional, he's good at what he does. he takes time to go through the various steps. Now, the question for me in my mind is, what will happen if you don't have a professional MC? So imagine that you have someone who probably doesn't even have a mastery of the language. You have very high profile guests who come there, and there's just somebody who annoys them by the way they speak. The English is either poor, or the French, or whatever language they're communicating in. And then the person doesn't know how to communicate or how to coordinate the event. All right, you're moving from a low to a high to a high, from a high to a low. You don't know how to coordinate those events. It's very important. And of course, there's this element of entertainment. Sometimes a good MC is not just the one who comes and speaks English or French. A good MC is the one who can interact with the audience. Well, a good MC is one who would take advantage of a situation which might be going wrong and then spin it into some fun fact, and it becomes an element of, you know, laughter, and people, before you know it, he has switched back into the mood of the event, and then people can enjoy it. They would not really, some of them will not understand what was going wrong, but you know, they would take that fun fact out of the event, and it would make it more successful. So basically, you have to be able to identify all of those things. An MC who understands the assignment, an MC who articulates well, because sometimes you have very high profile events and you don't want someone who would spoil the event just by the poor language that they use. Someone who has some element of humor, and someone who is able to coordinate events in a way that just makes it flow. And the last thing I'm going to say on this is that the fact that some people do it with ease does not mean that it's easy. So it takes a lot of work in the background, and only a professional MC understands those steps to be able to deliver the best.
And I'm glad you've been in the space as an MC for a long time, and you understand the dynamics. I really, you know, I attended this event, Vanesha, and you were the MC. When you held the mic, I felt like, you know, this is the real deal. This is somebody that can rock any party, any stage, and it will be very successful.
Yeah, every event has its energy. Mm-hmm. Every event has its energy. The energy you bring to a wedding is different from the energy you bring probably to a funeral. Mm-hmm. Because even that needs some kind of an MC who would make things go the way it's supposed to be. And it's different from maybe a corporate event. You have all these multinationals sitting together, they're brainstorming on certain things, and you have to know how to articulate in those different settings. So it's very, very important that you understand your assignment and you're able to bring just the right amount of energy that is needed for every event.
So let's say someone wants to hire you for their event, you know, what are the steps, you know, and what should they know, you know, when it comes to hiring MC Macaulay?
The first thing I would say is that they need to plan well ahead of time. It's important to do that because it gives me the time to prepare for your event, for us to have a conversation, for me to understand what you actually need from me. The second thing is, sometimes you think that because you know me or you know a particular person, you will call them 1 week to your event and they will just show up. It doesn't work that way. People get professional, people get busy, and so it's also important for you to talk about the money. I wouldn't shy away from that. Okay, if you pay well, you will get better results, because especially for a professional MC, money is a motivating factor. You know, for an MC to look good, for an MC to deliver, sometimes it has a price. Okay, otherwise you end up with that person who knows how to speak English, who ends up spoiling your event.
So what's the space window if somebody has to book your service? Like, when do they need to give you notification?
That's a tricky one to say, because sometimes even a month may not be enough, because there are several moving parts for some of these kinds of events. Sometimes the changes come even from the people, from the organizers. All right, they tweak things, they tweak their program. So booking an MC early enough, DJ, whatever you name it, booking them early enough gives them enough time to prepare, but also gives you enough time if you have to make some changes. I'll give you a simple example. You're working with a caterer and initially you think you're only going to have about 100 guests. And as the day approaches, you realize that your guest list is growing bigger, okay? What do? You end up with a list of 250 people when you had initially told the caterer that it's just for 100 people. So what do? But the thing is, if you had enough time from when you contacted them, at least you'll be able to revisit the contract or tell the caterer that, hey, listen, okay, the guest list is bigger, we're going to probably swell up the budget, and this is what we expect from you on the day of. So for every vendor, it's important that you contact them well ahead of time. And then if there are any changes, please talk to the vendors. Make sure you bring up those points well ahead of time so that by the time whether an MC or a DJ or a caterer is coming to your event, they're coming prepared. I've done events in the DMV where it's when you announce the bridal train, the pairs for the bridal parties, that the event planner is rushing to the DJ to give them the song to play for that pair to come in. And sometimes it doesn't look good. Unfortunately, most people are looking at the MC, oh, okay, MC, what's going on? But they don't know that a lot of those things happen outside of your convenience. You didn't prepare for that, and so unfortunately it goes the way it goes. But as a professional MC, you have to find ways of dealing with that, and sometimes that is when your creativity comes in, and you have to bring in that slight element of humor just to buy time so that every other thing should be fixed in the back end.
Nice.